Unfortunately, when creating massive projects for a ton of people to enjoy, some just end up being more memorable than others. It's inevitable, and it's okay, you know what I mean? It's just an inevitable fact. And just because a game isn't very well remembered, it doesn't really mean it's a bad game or it's sold poorly either. Sometimes there's a whole bunch of reasons why a game just is not memorable, and today we'll be looking at a couple of games Nintendo released for the Nintendo Switch that I feel just needs to be jogged in your memory just once more, just to remember they're still there, because I don't hear about these games ever. In a sense, this list kind of is counterintuitive, because if you think about it, if I need to force myself to remember a game, it's no longer forgotten, which means technically it doesn't qualify for this list anymore. But like, we're not gonna stress on technicalities, let's just get on along with the video. Let me just quickly remind you to please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And with that out of the way, let's get right into the video. To kick off this list, let's start off with one of the first games that actually came out for the Switch, ARMS. Not only was ARMS one of the first games to come out on the Switch in 2017, it was also a brand new IP for Nintendo. ARMS is a 3D fighting game where players choose a fighter with extendable arms, and you can perform punches, grab, throws, and basically ultimate attacks that are unique to each character. Overall, the game is pretty fun actually. I own it myself, and I played it for about 2 weeks, and then I put it on the shelf and never opened it again. But why, you may ask? Pretty much after you've played every character and you did every stage, you've pretty much seen and done it all. After the initial release, the game did get a couple of updates with a few new stages and characters. It wasn't enough to keep my interest in the game for that much longer, really. And even though this game sold around 2.4 million copies of the game as of me recording this video, I think there can be 3 main reasons to why this game just isn't really remembered. First reason is, when the Switch came out, it's like any other system, kind of like what we're seeing with the Xbox Series X and the PS5 right now. So for that reason, a lot of people probably weren't ready to pay full price for a game for a system that they don't even own. Second reason is, even after the Switches were available, after the train wreck we call the Wii U, support for Nintendo was pretty much at an all-time low, with not a lot of people having confidence in Nintendo. It kind of just turned people away. But by the time that the fans were buying the Switches and the people that were on the fence actually decided to buy the Switch and, you know, started to build this huge install base that they have now, the game was getting kind of old at that point, and there were already new things out on the system that were much more shiny and impressive and just attracted more people, so ARMS just kind of faded to obscurity, honestly. Next game is Fire Emblem Warriors, and this game literally kills me to put on this list because it's true, it's kind of just faded in the background now. Nobody talks about it, but I love this game so much, it's incredible. I've been a huge fan of Fire Emblem since Fire Emblem Awakening, and since then I played most of the new and old titles. So when I heard that a warrior style game was coming to the Switch, I was stoked. This game was loads of fun and even received some DLC, which I had already completely all purchased. But to put it simply, I'm not surprised that this is on this list. Both Dynasty Warriors and Fire Emblem are pretty niche titles, but the game still managed to sell a little bit over 1 million copies. For a game as niche as this, it really doesn't surprise me that now that we're in the 5th year of the Switch, it fell to the back of our minds. But honestly, this game is just a load of fun, and I would completely recommend you to give it a try if you do have the chance. Next up on the list, we have another game that just kind of makes me sad that it's here, and it's not even that old. And that game is none other than Astral Chain. This is a futuristic cyberpunk-style beat-em-up game by Platinum Games. I remember watching the original trailer for this game, and I was so pumped to get this game, but then the release date came up and went, and I didn't buy it, and a lot of people just kind of slept on the game as well. It took me about until the next year after its release, which at that point I had such a hard time finding the game. I ended up finding it on the Best Buy website, but around here where I live, finding games, if you don't buy them right away, you're not going to get them. I did end up buying it this year, and I played through it, and it was so much fun. And I'm really shocked that it didn't really get more attention than it did. As with all just story-driven single-player games, after the initial campaign is done, people just kind of put the game away and never touch it again, and often don't speak about it. So I'm pretty sure that's why nobody's talking about it anymore, but I definitely do. If you like games like Bayonetta or Devil May Cry, any just beat 'em up games, you'll love this game for sure, and I definitely recommend you picking it up and trying it out. Next up on the list is none other than 1-2 Switch. This game had one major flaw that made it be forgotten pretty quickly, I'd say. And it's not the fact that it's just a small party game, and it's not even the fact that it's more or less just a tech demo for the Switch. In my opinion, the main issue that it just wasn't a packing title with the Switch, even though it made so much sense. I know myself personally, I never purchased the game, and I do know a couple of people who bought it but they never play it anymore. It's just one of those games that it just was a no-brainer to pack in with the Switch, especially since it's a tech demo, and it's not supposed to be there for longevity. Plus, if they would have packed it in, it just, would have retained a bit of hype, because when you buy your Switch, you get a game, and when they showed it to their friends, they might even want a Switch, and then wait, and they get a Switch, they get 1-2 Switch, and they, the cycle just keeps going, and the game's just always talked about, and I feel like that's where Nintendo went wrong with this game. But I'm not Nintendo, so who am I to say anything, I guess? It's just one of those hard sells where it's kind of like, it's hard to justify paying full price for a tech demo for a game that's basically written all over that it should have been free with the Switch after you pay $3.99 for the Switch. Next up on the list is another really good game actually. And if you're a fighting game fan, you'll be in for a treat for this one. Pokken Tournament DX is a game that is a crossover between Pokemon and the Tekken series. This game was another port from the Wii U, which means essentially it had no chance. It was basically a no-brainer to give this game another chance. However, the Switch was still new at the time, and it was still having that huge issue of people just not trusting Nintendo yet. So it just kind of got the shit end of the stick twice, which is kind of unfortunate because it's, honest to God, a really good game. Hopefully if we get a sequel, it'll do better, I guess. And last up on my list is a game that I would say most people could probably agree with that, is probably the most forgettable game that's on the Switch. And that game is none other than Tokyo Mirage Session Char FE Encore. If I were to try to pronounce this game to you, most people would probably reply with, huh? This is another game that had a similar fate to Pokken Tournament. This is another port from the Wii U era, which basically means it really just had no chance of being successful. However, it's also a super niche title. This is a crossover game from the Shin Megami Tensei series and the Fire Emblem series. The gameplay is fantastic, so freaking good. But the story is just kind of mediocre. And the main issue with this port is if you own Shin Megami Tensei Shark FE for the Wii U, like I do, you really have no reason to rebuy it on the Switch, because there really isn't anything new to this port, honestly. But oh wait, did I say that was the last game? Nope, I lied, because there's actually one more section that I want to talk about. And it's what happens when it's not us that forgets the games, it's Nintendo themselves. I'm talking about none other than the infamous Mario's 35th anniversary that Nintendo hosted last year. Let's start off by talking about Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Although this game is pretty new, Nintendo themselves are determined for you to forget about it. This game only had a limited run for the Mario's 35th anniversary. Once March 31st came, Nintendo started to take their copies back. But if there's one game that Nintendo went full out Men in Black with their neutralizer, it's this game, Super Mario 35. This is another game that was just meant for Mario's 35th anniversary that Nintendo really wants you just to forget about, and they'll sweep it under the rug, and if you ask them about it, they'll just say, no, you're crazy, you dreamt about that, good idea, but you're crazy. This game was a game where you would play some of the original Mario levels, but with a twist. You would actually be up against 34 other players, where every time you would, let's say, jump on a Goomba, it would fall on somebody else's screen, similar to the style of Tetris 99 and Pac-Man 99. So basically, you would just play Mario and see who could last the longest. The deletion of this game did spark a little controversy within the game preservation community because, why work on creating a game just to delete it later and nobody can enjoy it? As of this moment right now, there's no official way to play this game, and maybe there's a ROM or something online, but as far as I know, this game is just gone. You can't play it. And honestly, I just think Nintendo got what they wanted, because I don't see anyone even mention this game really anymore, unless they're like me, mad. But yeah, that's all I have for this video. If you stuck around this long, you may as well consider leaving me a like and maybe even subscribing as well. Completely free, and if you don't like it, just unsubscribe later. Pretty good deal, I'd say. Now it's time for you to let me know what you think. Is there a game on this list that you don't agree with? Or maybe there's a game I forgot, which was like, you know, the whole point of this video. So, yeah, just let me know what you think in the comment section down below. But yeah, until next time, warel!